everybody, welcome back to my channel, So Fast Die Young. I'm Morgan, and this is my first video, like in, I think about 4 weeks now. 3-4 weeks? Yeah. It's been crazy and interesting and fun. I have gone back to work full time. It's a lot to handle. There's a lot to do. It's very different from what I was doing before in some ways, but I'm really enjoying it, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, no, I have really, though, missed doing videos for you all and putting stuff up on YouTube. I just haven't had a lot of time, so my weekends have been a little bit like of me decompressing from a very, very busy week, you know, and whatnot. And I feel like I am getting to a point where, like, I'm settling into my groove. I'm not feeling as tired at the end of the week, so I'm going to definitely be able to start working on some stuff, and maybe working on some stuff throughout the week too, so that I can give you guys some awesome videos. So today we are going to do a couple of really simple little hand sewing tips. I bought a new dress and it has a couple problems, so I'm going to talk to you about how to sew a snap and then a hook and bar onto this dress that I'm wearing. And I'll show you in just a second what the issues are, and then how putting the hook and bar and the snap where I did has made the issues disappear. So this is a very helpful tutorial if you are a woman or someone that has a chest that makes their shirts gap. Yeah, anybody that has issues with shirts gapping in the front, we're going to learn how to put a snap in between two buttons and hide it so that you can't see it from the outside necessarily. And then the other thing that I'm putting is a hook and bar at the waist, because that is also gapping a little bit. But in that case, I wanted the hook and bar over a snap for a little bit more strength and for a more specific reason. So let's go take a look at the dress and what the issues are, then I'll show you how to put them in, and then we'll look at it all done and styled. All right, so here's my dress. It's really cute, but you can see that there's some bubbling, and there's particular bubbling right here. This is where I'm gonna stick a snap. It's actually already there. I am filming this after the fact. So I'm gonna stick a snap right there, as you can see, so that this won't gap. Okay, and then I'm also having a problem where right here in particular, it's not so much happening here. It's really funny because it like skips. This is fine, but right here I'm getting a lot of pulling. This is the waist seam. So I'm going to stick a little hook and bar right at the waist seam. That's all going to hold it together. Now I am planning to wear belts over this. However, I still feel like it's a worthwhile little extra security, you know, to have the hook and bar there. Okay, so we're going to start with a very simple hand sewing tutorial today. So I have this dress that has closure in the front, and basically at this point between these two buttons, it wants to gap when I'm wearing it just a little bit more than I like. So what I want to do here is I want to add a hook and bar. So the hook is going to end up getting stitched here on this side, and I'm going to put this little bar right about there on that side. So this will get set back just a smidge so that it'll just hold the waist seam closed. I'm going to be wearing belts over this, but I still just like that little extra bit of security. So we're going to do that, and then I am also going to add a small snap, couple buttons up right here. I'm going to hide a snap here and here in between these two buttons, because I have breasts, and anyone who has breasts can tell you that button up things gap usually around this area. I have for some reason it really wants to gap in between these two buttons. So this one wants to kind of collapse in, well, this side wants to like stick out and the side wants to collapse in a little bit. So I'm going to put a snap right in the center there so that it kind of keeps this together so that we don't have a gaping blouse in the front. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I've got needle and thread. I'm going to start with a simple tutorial on how to thread the needle. I already did a little TikTok like video thing about this, but we're going to do it here. I thread my needle. When I'm hand sewing, I always use full double length. So I bring my tails together at the other end. The way I personally like to tie my knots is I hold on, pinch these two between my thumb, I lay my sewing needle on top of it, and then I grab, so it makes a nice big loop, okay? So then I grab the two that are off of the short tail, wrap that around 3-4 times, or more, depending on how big you want your knot to be. That's why I like it this way, is because then I can really control the size of my knot depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I want really big knots for certain things, and then you just literally pull your thread through by pulling on the needle, and you end up with a nice little knot. Okay. I'm going to start by putting my hook on. I'm going to set it back just a little bit from the edge of the fabric. We're going to be sewing the 2 holes, and then we're going to be doing a bar tack across, basically through the top of this. And there's a couple of different ways that you can, this is my preferred method of doing this. So I like to, I'm not going all the way through. Well, let me see, what do we got on the other side? Nah, I'm not going to go all the way through because it's white on the other side and I'm sewing this with black. But here where there's this seam, I'm going to try and catch a little bit more of that so that it helps keep it from like pulling too far away, because I don't want it to pull funny. If you are sewing something, you can do like an anchor stitch all the way through sometimes, like a prick stitch. That is a very good thing to do, and I will probably be doing that here on this black part. So I will show you when we get to that. So we start our stitch. If you can get in, you can hide your knot. I don't particularly care about hiding my knot. You're just going to go around 3 or 4 times on each of these holes. And you want to keep the stitches, on this end. You don't necessarily want them going to the side. I prefer to keep them here. And I'll explain why in a minute. It's a tension thing, so I want to create tension here that's going to be opposite the tension that I'm going to put on the little tack up here. So we're going to stitch that. I'm just catching here this bottom layer. Okay, they're not coming through. Actually, I probably could do a prick stitch. If you have the option to hide a prick stitch on the top, it's actually really good because it anchors your layers together. Oh, I do. Look, so I'm coming up with the black in the black. Basically doing one teeny tiny little itsy bitsy stitch. I'm only going over like a thread or two. I'm pushing it back through. Doing one tiny little prick stitch that you won't even be able to see from the front side will help anchor all of your layers together, and then your layers won't pull apart. Like, have you ever sewn on a snap or something or a button onto one layer but not the other, and then like pulls and like, you know, it does this? You don't want it to do this. Putting that prick stitch all the way through all of the layers and hiding it will keep it from doing that. You don't need to do every single stitch like that, but if you can put 1 or 2 with fastening closures, I feel that it is better. So now I've moved on to the other one. Yeah, I just feel that it helps like create a little security. Again, you don't have to go crazy with it, and it should be a teeny tiny little bite, little prick stitch, teeny tiny little stitch. So just come through, barely go, you know, anywhere, and you're back over. Okay, so now I've gone around each of these about 4 times. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go in between the fabric, and I'm going to slide up to basically right next to the top of this hook. And again, here's where we're going to create some tension. This is also going to help it keep from pulling funny. We're going to go, the thread is going between the hook and then you're going down. All right, and again, we're going to do a teeny tiny little stitch. Come back up. So I've got it secured with one prick stitch, and these other ones I'm just going to go around the hook and through a couple of the top layers. I'm not going all the way through these ones. I'm just going to secure this with basically a bar tack across the top. So now I've created some tension between here and here. So it's not gonna pull this way, it's not gonna pull that way. It's like making a nice little tension, but everything is still staying nice and flat. Okay, and then we're gonna tie off with a double knot. I like to catch my threads, go through the loop that makes. And it, of course, because I'm filming, it decides to catch itself. Hold on. Oop. Gonna do that again. Some people also like to do, so like go through the first loop and then go through the second loop. Some people really like to do that. You're welcome to do that as well, just as long as all of your threads slide away nicely. Okay, and then I like to, if I can, slide back in, hide my thread, and trim it so that it slides back into the project, so there's no loose threads hanging around. Okay, so again, I will show you how I tie a knot in the end of my thread. I like this because I can really get it right down to the end. You just pull through, you get your nice little knot. Okay, so now we're going to figure out on this side where we want this to lay. So I'm going to go ahead for a second and I'm going to snap, not snap, button. I'm going to button these things. And then I'm going to find a straight pin. So this has, you know, this has like a stitch line where the placket is. And I am going to set this bar back just a little bit, again, so that it helps hide itself. So it's not going to be quite right on the stitch line. It's going to be right here. So I'm just kind of using this for a second as a placeholder until I can get stitching. Okay. Whoops. And then I knocked my camera. Sorry. At least I'm, you know, wearing, well, I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing a dress, so. But, you know. Alright, so this one, I'm going to come up actually from the underside. And catching again here. So now that I've got this like started. Oops, of course. Why did you do that? There we go. Okay. So I'm going to hold this in place. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do about 3 or 4, this one 4, maybe 5 stitches. Now there are couture ways of doing this where you do stitches all around. There are methods where you lock all of these stitches, but this is just your simple basic. We're putting this on with your basic hand stitch, okay? Nothing fancy. I did have one place I worked, they liked to have all of these locked off, which basically means that there would end up being a row of knots on the edge. That's really nice because then you can cut those knots and it comes right off. Makes it really easy to remove without accidentally damaging fabric. But if you are a very clean hand sewer, then you'll have your nice little set of stitches all right together. Okay, so again, I'm gonna put my needle through the fabric and come out this other end, roughly where the top of this is. Again, I'm not going under, I'm actually traveling between all of the layers of fabric, okay? Right, let's go ahead. So that comes up, and again, we're just gonna do, well, yeah, actually, let me pull that back up. So if I wanted to lock this stitch, I would, so instead of coming up and going through here, I would come up, go back through the fabric, which would create this loop. That's going to be so confusing right now. But then go through this loop. And that would put a little knot right on the edge. You can't see it. It's pretty small. But if you get a row of them, it looks very pretty. And you can actually, like I said, in contour sewing, some places will do the knotted lock stitch all the way around the eyelet. That's very fancy. So you come from the outside, you come in, it makes this loop, you go through that, and it creates a tiny little knot. And again, can't see it great right now, but it is making these teeny tiny little knots. Let's see if we can get this to focus on that. I don't think we will. Well, maybe. But now there's like 3 little knots right there. And so if I wanted to take this off, it would be really easy to just sort of take a scissor and snip across those knots, and it would be released. It's a little bit safer than a seam ripper. Yeah, I don't know if you can see those. It just kind of makes it a little thicker. Just gives it a little bit different look, but it's the same exact thing and a little sturdiness. It makes like this little ridge of knots though. And again, same thing here. I like to go through a couple of them, do a double knot. On the end, and then yet again slide this back in between all of the layers, come out somewhere farther away. If you scrunch it just a little bit, that will make sure that your tail, after you snip it, slides back in and completely disappears, so you don't have any threads hanging out, other than if you put your knot on the outside on the back. But if you were able to hide your knot, then you really don't have any threads visible anywhere. So yeah, so now this will hook to that, and it will just keep the waist from gaping a little bit. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the snap. I believe that was 2 buttons up. I believe that was fine. This was fine. I believe it was, no, sorry. It was here. These top ones were fine. This is like right at across my bust. This is right under my bust, which is where it's wanting to gap. So we're going to put a snap here. So usually when I do snaps, I will start with the outie, also sometimes called the male snap, depending on who you're talking to. I like to call it the outie and the innie, so that we are being non-gendered. So we're going to start with the outie snap. And that, for me, is going to go right in the middle. I'm hoping that this is going to be enough. I think one snap will be fine. This is a pretty tiny one. I think this is a size 1 or a size 0. This might be a 0. Snaps come in different sizes. Okay, so, and I'm just going to put it right in the center. Okay, it's not going to be near the edge. It's going to be right in the center. And I particularly want to try and do a couple of prick stitches in this black bar, again, so that I don't have a snap that is then going to, instead of making a gap, make it do this, right? So I want to make sure that I go through all of the layers at least a couple of times, just to be safe, okay? So when I do snaps, I like to hide my tail under the center of the snap, sort of. Let me trim. I like to hide my knot under the snap. That's just a thing that I do. You don't have to do that, but it's a thing that I do. So I'm gonna put my snap there. So I'm gonna start actually on these black lines. Again, I'm gonna go all the way through. Boop, and just do a little prick stitch, like I said. Coming back up. That was supposed to be inside. That way I've got one little stitch that's going to go all the way through and hide it, okay? Now we're going to do, on these, I like to do about 3 stitches. 2, is that 3? Or is it 4? Yeah, we'll do 3 there. Then we're going to go over here. I'm actually going to do a prick stitch right now here, coming out. And then try to very carefully come back up in the hole, but I don't know if you can see how close that is with the black on black, but that needle is going right back in, right next to the thread, okay? So, like, I mean, you can't even, because this is all cotton, you can't even see it. Like, that is a teeny tiny stitch right there that you can't even see. I don't even know if I could get it to zoom in to the point where you can see it. I can see it because I can see a slight difference in shine. There's one there and one right there. And those are just going to keep it. I'll show you once I'm done stitching this around. Those are going to keep it from pulling apart. Now, because I've got the white here, I don't think I can get another one. Maybe I can get another one. I can get another one right on the edge of this black. Just a teeny tiny one, okay? Again, see, so small you can't even see it. Or did I actually go through that? Let me see. Might have went back through the same hole. Nope, I caught it. I caught it. That's the way that you can tell. If you pull it apart, you can sometimes feel the thread. And then if you pull it apart and you pull it back and it pulls them back together, then you know you've caught it as well. So we're good. These other stitches are only going to be through the back layer, through the inside layer, so they're not seen on the top. Again, you can't see any of those. Sometimes, and it also depends on the fabric. Some fabrics are easier to hide your prick stitches in than others. Some it's really hard. So you just, oh crap. Sometimes your snap also likes to break your thread. So if your snap breaks your thread, it's okay. There's a couple things you can do. You can go back and you can knot off. Or in this case, I've already got the other 4, so I'm just going to do 6 stitches here and knot off at the end. It's going to be fine. Sometimes you can also, so like I've pulled this back as a long tail. I can also tie this off here. It's not the best method, but it does help. Hold that for a second. I'm gonna snip that kind of short. But now I've still got double thread that I can finish off this little one with. And this one, I think I will just end up locking this last 3 stitches. Oops. Again, the locking just helps keep it from, keep it, from coming undone. It's like making little knots. So like if you lock your stitches and one starts to pop and unravel, then the other ones won't. It helps just buy you a little more time before your snap comes off. So go through, do a double knot, and again, not catching anything, hiding in between, hide your thread. That's the mark of professionalism, is hiding your thread. No. I mean, I know plenty of people who don't bother hiding their threads. It was just drilled into me. Okay, so now, next question is how do we figure out, oops, I smack the tripod. Well, how does one figure out where this snap corresponds? This is why we start with the outie snap, the pokey snap, because now what you can do, this is one of my favorite tricks, and I think it's gonna work. Hold on, I gotta get a marking utensil. This works best with, so you can do this with wax, you can do this with marker. Hopefully this works. Okay, yeah, that's still, I think this is going to end up on white, so let me test it first. You can do this wax, you can do this with marker, you can do it with chalk. The trick is you put all over your out and your little boop, and then you push it down. Let's see if it shows up. It ended up on the black, so hold on. Let me get wax. Get marking wax. So you can do the same thing with the marking wax. You just rub a little bit on the tip of your snap. Oh, and this time it went on the white. I'm just having the best of luck. Okay. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to go on the white. Let me get a different. Maybe that blue wasn't very good. Try this one. I'm just going to put pigment on the end. Yeah, okay. So you can just barely see it. I just got, you can't even really see it on camera, but there's some tiny bits of purple right there. So it's basically right there is where that snap needs to go. Yeah, you couldn't see it on camera, but I could see it in person, that there was just ever so slightly a purple coloring. So that's, if you look in here, I don't know if you can see, but that is right where that snap is going to be. So now that we have the location for our snap, I need to rethread my needle. Oh, come on. Fine, be that way. Gonna snip off our tail. Right, so this snap is going to go right there. I like that you can see, you know, with these little ones, you can see the hole. You can make sure that it's right on the purple. So again, here you can, since it's on the inside, you can start from the back and just go all the way through all of the layers on all of these stitches if you want. Or you can just do the top layer. Well, I mean, you still want to go through all the way through a couple times, but it's on the inside, so you don't. And this is, okay, so here's another thing. This is a thing that I do. This is a thing that I like to do. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it. I like to offset my snaps. So if I stitch with these guys here and here, you see like the holes are here and here and here and here. When I sew this one on, I stitch them here and here and here and here. So they offset so that my stitching sits in between each other. It's not something that you have to do. I think it makes the snaps snap better. It's my weird quirk. Okay? I don't even remember if anybody taught me to do it or if it's just one of those weird sort of pseudo OCD like things that I do without even realizing it. It's like this particularism that like there's certain things that I have to do certain ways, otherwise I will redo them because I don't like it. And I really like, there's something about the snaps being offset like this that just very much pleases me and makes me happy. And I don't know when I started doing it. Don't know why I started doing it, but I did start doing it and I can't stop. So, boop. If snaps are not offset, then I kind of get sad and I'm like, oh, I should redo that. Again, it's my own weird quirk. So again, we're going like 3 to 4 times. This is a small snap. You know, you don't need that many catches necessarily. Oops. Put down. This time I'll show you, tie it off in the back. See, on this one, it wasn't as pretty. So you don't want to see stitches like this. I didn't do this one as pretty. And I kind of did that on purpose just to show you, like, you can make things very pretty and precise, or, you know, you can make them not so pretty and precise. So I'm going to go through this little batch of them and tie it off. But this is on the inside, so I really don't care. But I am still going to hide my tail. Come out over here. And you don't need to feel bad if your stuff looks like that on the back or whatever. Like, everyone's got different skill levels and learning levels, and so, you know, there are people who are going to make it messier than that. You could have traveled between all of them on the backside and you have a big, like, bunch of thread. So I just want to show you, it's okay for it to not look perfect on the inside, because it is on the inside. Okay, so now the snap snaps, my button, I got my hook, I got my snaps. She is done. I will go try her on and let you all see her. You're getting a really up close look. Can see where it's gapping, can see a little bit of my bra. That is where the snap has gone. So now it snaps closed, and that keeps it from basically, because when the snap is not, this wants to cave in. Do you see how that's happening? So this is going to keep that nice and tidy. And then down here, I need like a ladder. Hold on, let me see if I can shift this down just a little bit. So here, where I have stuck the hook and bar where this wants to go, that now just keeps that in place. I'm not so worried about this. Oh, now that one wants to go. I might add a snap there later. We'll see. We'll see how much that bothers me. That wasn't doing that before, but this one also doesn't bother me that much because I am planning on wearing wide belts with this. So, all right, so here is the final look with one of the belts that I really like to use with this, or well, I mean that I've decided I'm going to use with this. I literally got this a week ago. I've just done the alterations that you've seen with the little snap and hook and bar. So this is one of the belts that I'm thinking about wearing with it. It really looks nice all together. It's got a very cute feel to it, right? Super simple, very Beetlejuicy, very gothy. I love it. yeah, so just adding that little snap here really makes this more secure, less likely that that I'm gonna flash people. It also takes a little tension off of that. I might add another one up here because this one, the more that I'm wearing this and moving in it, the more I feel like this is also gapping a little bit more than I would like it to. So there will probably be another snap added there, honestly. In terms of this little hook and bar, it just makes a nicer, like, cleaner line. If I wanted to wear it with a thinner belt, like if I don't have one, I think right now. I might. I'm not sure where it is. If I wanted to wear it with like a little thin belt, then, you know, this definitely wouldn't gap here like it was doing. You know, it won't do this. This will keep it nice and in place. But yeah, and it just, again, even under belts like these, this is one of the other belts that I own that I kind of like with this dress. Let's throw this one on. This one kind of sits right at that line, so it's just gonna keep everything like looking pretty, so that this doesn't gap underneath, or when I'm like sitting down, or if I slouch or anything. You know, it's just one of those nice little ways to elevate your wardrobe in a very simple way. You know, is add some snaps and hook and bars to hold things more in place. And when you have you know, a larger chest of any sort, for whatever reason, you might end up with gapping here. And I really do appreciate when companies take that in consideration and either space buttons better, or I have a dress actually that I got from Target of all places that has like internal buttons. It's really cute and cool. But they like, in between the big buttons, it has internal buttons, so you don't get that gappage. I was like, that was thinking ahead. Thank you so much for tuning into my video this week. I really appreciate every single person who watches each and every one of my tutorials. So I really hope that you found something useful and helpful and maybe learned a little bit here, whether it was how to sew on a snap or hook and bar, or even just put a knot in a piece of thread. Every little bit of knowledge is helpful. So if you did find something useful in my video, please try to remember to hit the like button, give me a thumbs up there. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and right now hitting the bell would be pretty useful so that you know when I actually do post videos, since it's gonna still be a little bit sporadic and based on how my schedule evolves moving forward with my work. As I said before, I am hoping to start doing videos a little bit more often again, now that things are getting a little more settled with working and, you know, home life and whatnot. And yeah, so it's just been really great. I'm really happy to be back at work. I'm really happy to have stability back and everything, you know. So I do appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I love you.